Hello everyone and welcome to Whimsy Wednesday. This video is going to focus on some budget sensitive tips and tricks for reenacting and living history interpretation. Now, I know folks were interested in hearing about some of the techniques I've used over the years to do interpretation or do reenacting on a very tight budget. Now the catch is many of those are local and don't necessarily apply to everyone or are available to everyone. So I thought I would start with something that's more of a mindset that everyone out there can work with because it uses more accessible resources. All right. So a few years ago, I did a blog post called Pizza in the Piggy Bank. And it looked at which items to save up for and which items could be had for the cost of a pizza or less. Now I will share below the original post so you can see which items I think you should really save up for and are worth putting a larger amount of money into. Today we're going to go over the items that can be had for a pizza price or less, okay? And I think I have 10 items on my list today. Now locally, I can get a medium-sized pizza covered with veggies for about $30 delivered. So we're going to use that as the price point for everything here. All right, are you ready? Okay, so the first item on my list is drawers and chemise. And in this case, in linen. Because, you know, I'm on my linen kick. But you could also do these in cotton. So, if you want a chemise and a pair of drawers, I find that the most cost-effective way to do this is to subscribe to fabricsstore.com. And it's www.fabrics-store.com. They have a lightweight handkerchief linen. It's regularly priced $10 or $11, but here's the catch. If you subscribe, they will send you emails with discounts on a fairly regular basis. I'm finding they have a sale almost daily. It changes. Sometimes they have like a midnight sale or I don't want to say a cocktail sale, but special time of day sales. And you can get their lightweight linen for between $6 and $7 a piece. A yard, I'm sorry. And their yards, the fabric's actually 58 inches wide. So you can get a chemise out of 2 yards. And you can get a pair of drawers out of 2 yards. And this is based on my size, and I'm not small. So you can have a chemise and a set of drawers, 4 yards, and we'll go with the higher price of $7 a yard for $28. Definitely less than a pizza. All right, so once you have those chemise and drawers, your next pizza, let's talk about petticoats. All right, I'm of the opinion you can never have too many petticoats. Let's be honest. You want a nice full set of skirts for most of your eras. Most, but not all. So say you're doing anything from the 30s through the 60s, your 70s, your 80s. Petticoats are lovely. Now, I'm going to go 2 pricing approaches here. You could go with a quality premium muslin that can be found at several of the larger box craft stores. I'm going to remain them nameless for about $3.99 a yard. Now, if you use their coupons or their coupon codes for half off, you're going to be able to pull off a petticoat for about $20. Isn't that nice? And that's going with, I think I had figured, oh goodness, 4 panels for that. This is where I need better notes. Now another option is to go with the poplin that is available at Dharma Fabrics for $6.50. Now this is a 55-inch width, so wider than what you're going to get for your muslin at those craft stores. Those tend to be 36-inch widths or 45-inch widths. All right, so if you're ordering the poplin again from Dharma and you want to do a 3-panel petticoat, and this is considering some length, so basically 4 yards, that's going to run you about $26. Now if you want to go with an additional panel, so 4 panels, this would be a very full petticoat, closer to 200 inches, you're going to just tip over the pizza price of $32.50. It's still really good. All right, now, I do have to back up because this is assuming that you have a button at home. If you don't have a button at home, you do need to add about 25 to 50 cents. But I don't want you ordering buttons. I want you to pick up inexpensive mother of pearl buttons at like a flea market or a yard sale. It's going to be far more cost effective. Get a jar. I'm sure there's a mother of pearl button somewhere in that jar that should be about $2 to $5 in my opinion. All right, while we're on petticoats, item number 3 is actually a wool petticoat. And for me, the wool petticoat not only is a warmth item, it's a moisture item. So even in the warmer summer days, when it's humid, putting on that wool petticoat is going to help. If you put the wool petticoat on, you're creating a moisture-free space below it. So you're not having as much humidity come in because you're going to have moisture coming up from the ground, all the humidity from the air, and of course you're sweating, so the wool does help. All right, for that, you're going to want 2 yards of tropical to lightweight wool. You may be very careful and go into a medium weight, but I'm leery to suggest that because a lot of people consider things as a medium weight that I really consider a heavy weight. So stick to a tropical to lightweight wool. 2 yards should be plenty because this tends to be about 60 inches wide. The 2 yards are going to give you 120 inches around. Mind you, this is going under your cage if you're wearing a cage. And you don't need quite as much length because you're going to use a yoke or panel at the top of some scrap cotton that you have laying around the house. Or you may have to purchase this one, so that'll bring your price tag up a little bit. And this is going to reduce the bulk that's up around your hips and that weight at your waist. So that's number 3. Number 4, this one's an important one, your personal linens. So a new set of personal linens. So we were talking cuffs, collars, pelerines. That can really spruce up an outfit. If you've had the dress for a while, adding the new cuffs or collars can really bring some new life to it. And if you're making a dress from scratch, having the cuff or collars really is a nice finishing touch. Now for that, I'm going to recommend again from Dharma. I like their cotton lawn. And that runs about $6 a yard. It's $6 and a couple pennies, I believe, if you're only ordering a few yards. We're going to get into some length later. Now, just ordering 2 or 3 yards of this is going to give you lots and lots of cuffs and collars or a few pelerines. So it'll go a long way. And the nice thing about this is it's going to give you a chance to practice your rolled hems, which can be done at home or at an event. All right, next, number 5, a personal favorite. Surprise, surprise, the pocket. I'm a huge fan of pockets, both the pockets that go under a dress and the pockets that go in a dress. Adding a pocket to your dress or under your dress is going to make a big difference in how you spend your day at an event. You suddenly take things out of your hands, you free them up, you put them in your pocket. The modern things are tucked away in a pocket underneath your petticoats. The period interpretive things can go right in your dress pocket, and they can become a story as you take them out. And it's just so much easier. You can easily do a pocket out of a half yard, even a quarter yard, very easily. And of course that can be out of almost any fabric, almost. All right, next accessory is number 6, a wool shawl. Of course, another favorite of mine. And this is going to be a wool shawl made from fabric with fringed edges. This is going to take 2 yards of light to medium weight wool. All right, you're going to want a plain weave, and you're going to be looking for a plaid, a check, or a solid that's appropriate to the era that you're focusing on. Actually, over my shoulder, this would be acceptable. Now, this is going to be 60-inch wide fabric for the most part. That's why we want 2 yards. You're going to square this up, which means you're probably going to lose some inches on each end in squaring that up. And then you'll fringe the edges. And I have directions for that on my blog, and Liz Clark has directions for that on the Sewing Academy site as well. This is going to run you about $10 a yard if you're looking for the sales on sites like Fabric Mart Fabrics, because they love to have discount fabric and sales from time to time. I like to look for my winter fabrics midsummer. Gets a good jump start. That's when it kind of starts to become available. You can easily find appropriate fabrics for that $10 price. You can actually find them all the way down to about $5 a yard as well. All right, next, number 7 is the work pocket. Now, of course, I'm a little biased here with my book, Fanciful Utility, but I think everyone should have a work pocket, also known as a sewing case or a housewife. And this goes for men and women. Basically, this little item becomes handy. It's holding your different sewing pieces, but it also can become a story all rolled up in fabric. If you pull out this little item, unroll it, it might have a lock of hair or a little letter or some postage stamps tucked inside, and that can become a way to connect with visitors. Excuse me. Better. All right, next on my list. This might surprise some people since I do focus on straw millinery. One of my biggest recommendations to people is a sunbonnet. I would rather have you have a sunbonnet than a fashion bonnet, honestly. A sunbonnet is going to protect you from the elements, both the sun and the rain and the wind. And it's going to be able to go further than a fashion bonnet. If you have a fashion bonnet, I would love for you to get a sunbonnet. That way, if it's raining or snowing, you have something else to put on your head and you won't damage your fashion bonnet. Now, for a sunbonnet, I'm going to recommend checking your local shops. This one's kind of fun. See if you have quilt shops around. And when you're there, look in their remnant or end cut section. This is one of those nice little tricks. It works for smaller projects. You're going to need about 1 yard to 1.5 yards, depending on the sunbonnet you're doing. You're going to want probably a smaller print that's period, based on the era that you're doing. I personally like lighter weight fabrics for this. So you could look for the remnant, I'm talking quilt weight fabrics. The other option is to look for a white on white semi-sheer woven fabric, and those will be a little bit wider. And for your pattern, you don't even have to spend anything because there are patterns over at the Sewing Academy, directions for making your own slat or corded bonnet. My preference is corded. All right. next on the list, you know what? I'm going to add one back with the sunbonnet and those remnants and end cuts that are available at quilt shops. That's a good place to get fabric for aprons as well, because they're going to probably be lengths that are 3 yards and less. That's the end cut part of the bolt. And depending on your quilt shop, they may be half price. And personally, I find you can get higher quality fabric at a quilt shop for a lower price compared to some other stores. So that'll be 8.2. All right, and then number 9 is a cap. Now this does not apply to every era. If you are, say, a Civil War reenactor, this is not the kind of cap that you need. This is the white cap. Actually, I've got mine here. This kind of cap from earlier, okay? This cap, I am going to recommend the cotton wool that's over at Dharma, and that is currently priced $6.87. And you can do a cap from a single yard of fabric. So this is well under the pizza limit. You could actually probably have it with the shipping for about $10. Isn't that nice? All right, and then next is a hairdressing kit. When I first wrote this down, I'm like, all right, we can do a hairdressing kit for $30. Turns out it's a little close. So I'm gonna actually do a whole separate video on putting together a basic hairdressing kit with my favorite essentials and include where to get those, both from a local shopping experience and from never having to leave the house. You can just order them. So basically your hair kit would include some hairpins, some basic elastics, and pomade. And it's pretty close to the cost of a pizza. All right, so there's my 10.2 of the day. And I thought I'd go over some helpful hints as well, just to kind of add to this. Because yes, it's a pizza. So I'm going to suggest that you create a sewing plan. So this will let you know that, okay, I'm going to do this project and then this project and then this project. And each of these have fabrics that come from Dharma. So you'll save a little bit on shipping. So you might want to do your cuffs and collars and your petticoats. You're going to order some lawn and some poplin together, and that'll save you some money. You just have to save a little bit longer. All right, and another way to save on the shipping is going to be by pairing up with a friend or more than one friend that's local to you, so you can split the shipping. So maybe just let them know, I'm about to do some underpinnings. Do you want to go in on getting a larger amount or saving the shipping? And the nice thing about some of these companies, if you order like 1 to 5 yards, it's one price. 6 to 10 yards, it's a little bit less. So that's another way to save. And I'm going to suggest you also subscribe to some of these sites. As much as we hate having all that spam in the inbox, and it can be a temptation, it's nice to get the alerts for when there's these discounts. The fabrics store will give you those sales, and they're really good discounts. I find Fabric Mart Fabrics once every couple of months has a bargain period appropriate fabric. It might be a silk, it might be a shirting, something really worth jumping on, and that's a one-day sale usually. So subscribe to some of those. Next is to really know your local shops. You might have quilt shops, you might have craft shops. They're all going to be different based on where you are in the country. Like here in New York, we have several independent quilt shops, and then we have some secondhand shops. Down in New Mexico, oh, I could get anything framed. I can't do that here. And there were bead shops and specialty artists and crafts in that area, so they do vary. But get to know them, figure out what kind of sales and events they have. If they have a mailing list, get on it. Learn who has reproduction items, who's ordering which lines, because there's different fabric lines that do tend to make period prints more frequently. and make good friends with them because they also have wonderful deals on thread and other notions. And my last suggestion is going to be to join a couple D-stash groups if you're on social media like Facebook. There are several on Facebook. There's historical costumers, there's cosplay ones. Figure out where your goals fit and which one you fit in with. Join them. You don't necessarily have to add them to your feed, but go check them out on a regular basis. Understand that sometimes they sell quickly. Like I'll see things that I'll see it at 5 minutes and it's sold at 3, which is fine. You don't need anything that bad, I hope. But you'll see fabric lengths, ribbon lengths, notions, buttons galore. All right, so those are my helpful hints and my 10 pizza suggestions. I hope this was helpful today. And like I said, I'm going to do that hairdressing kit video in the future. And if you like these budget sensitive videos, let me know in the comments either on the blog or on YouTube, and I'll try to do more of them. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you all. Bye-bye.